I think that there have been ups and downs. Um, I personally have been falling out of love with football for some years. I think there were bits and pieces of the year where I felt some of the old feelings, but for the most part, it has been in general. I don't know. I think AFCON was a great high, though. I really enjoyed AFCON. I think that was a great way to start the year. AFCON was stuff of dreams. I think the Asian Cup as well was fantastic. I watched it, and that was a great start to the year. But as the months passed, by the time we got to the Euros were underwhelming. Copa America was kind of underwhelming as well, and the leagues, the climax of the season wasn't so good. But overall, I still think that it was a good year in general for football. I mean, I love underdog stories. I love that we are still having that even now, even with all the money disparity. And I think I got to enjoy seeing teams like Atalanta win, Bayer Leverkusen go unbeaten, and things like that, stories like that. The story of the South African team at AFCON, even the Nigerian team that nobody expected anything from gets into the final. The Ivorian story, Cape Verde, all the likes. I think I was very invested in the African stories more than anything, and they absolutely served me this year. So I think that's kept me going. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think football in 2024 was very enjoyable because this is the first time in a long time that it was really unpredictable. It served us a lot of moments because football in 2024 was more a case of if this team wants it more, they will just get it. We saw teams starting to disrespect the so-called big side and whatnot. We saw players going into their stride, players that we did not know come in their own, create names for themselves and stuff like that. Also, the new Champions League format gave us something, a new dimension, to see the Champions League from that angle. And I think there are lots of storylines that 2024 brought that just made it a good spectacle for the sport.
Football in 2024 was no was still is is exciting and unpredictable. That's what our team 2024 has in every way. From the different tournaments that were held, the AFCON, the Euros, as well as the Olympics. Yes, those tournaments that went on. Not forgetting the drama of the Ballon d'Or, forgetting even the now FIFA the best, all of it. 2024 was one year where football enthusiasts had a lot to talk about. Like there are so many topics that you could just not exhaust all of them.
For club team, I would say Stade Brestois. I think they've been very, very incredible because when their coach Eric Roy took over, they were battling relegation, and for him to take them to Champions League qualification, and then even in the Champions League, as much as I'm a staunch Ligue 1 fan, I really didn't expect so much from them in Champions League because I knew it was going to be a tough ask, for them to do well in Champions League. But they've done brilliantly so far. I think all year they've just completely defied the odds, and I find that very, very interesting. I absolutely love the team, and most importantly, the team consists of players that I've always loved, underrated players that kind of faced a dip in their careers, like Ludovic, Ajork, like Kenny Lala. These are players I absolutely love, and to see them getting their shine again and getting to play Champions League football has been beautiful. For the national team part, I'd say in terms of underdogs, maybe Cape Verde. I think Cape Verde were very interesting at AFCON, and I was really gutted for them that they didn't go as far as like the semi-finals. But they did so well. They were interesting, they were fun, they played some beautiful football. And we saw a lot of those stories at AFCON, to be honest. Lots of countries doing brilliantly, but Cape Verde stood out for me. I really, really enjoyed seeing them play, seeing how exciting they were, scoring goals, fun, their fans, everything. And I think they were a big part of what made AFCON so fun.
From club side, it's definitely Leverkusen. And for me, I'll go with Leverkusen because, yes, maybe I expected them to challenge, but the way they went to dominate Bundesliga, to go this season unbeaten was just remarkable. in a league that has a Bayern Munich that has also dominated German football over the past decade. What they did with Xabi Alonso was just incredible. It was a big surprise for me. I kept on the fact that many times they will leave it till the 90th minute before they come with a win or a comeback was just remarkable. And so for me, Leverkusen, the way they won was a big surprise for me. And in terms of the national team, it's not really a big surprise because they did not really go far or do much to exploit. But I think Georgia won my heart the way they played all through. The fact that even they qualified for their first Euros under surprising conditions, and the way they just played Mamadas really was was a shining light, and I just like Georgia seeing them. Really.
For me, so far, it has to be Bayern Leverkusen. I'll give it to that team because first off, we've always talked about the German Bundesliga, and it's always about Bayern and then Dortmund. So no one really thought Dortmund maybe or Bayern would let another team come in. But then we saw a manager who had taken Bayern Leverkusen to the semi-finals of the Europa League. The next season, it just went on all gun blazing, not losing in Bundesliga, something that Bayern themselves never did. It showed you how difficult it is, and he still went on to win other titles. I think Bayern Leverkusen beats every team in Europe. Even no one came close. Apart from that loss to Atalanta, I think they had a flawless season in every way. For my national team of the year, I would go with Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, the host nation of the AFCON, coming into that competition, they were tempted favorites, yes, but we saw how they struggled in the group stage, making it through the back door. Manager resigned, the assistant came up. Normally, assistants are not meant to, they're not meant to, there's a certain level of success you expect from assistants. Is anything we see, we take. But then these players, they had the resilience. They showed what it means that if you want it more, if you are hungry about it, you can get it. Despite us, yes, Nigeria, we lost to Ivory Coast. I think Ivory Coast, they were a team for me that I loved. I loved the way that they took every game as a final. They made sure that they rallied on the power of the 12th man. It's one thing to have the 12th man, it's another thing to take it to make advantage of it. And that is one thing that Ivory Coast did. So I'll go with Ivory Coast for me. I just love them all bits. And I love the color. They just made orange look so good. The stadium was always a beauty to see. Despite not being in the stadium, you just feel like, yes, we are there in every of the games. Big one to CAF. That was one of the best AFCON we've ever had.
This one is very, very easy. The night will be South Africa. I've never had that much fun, or I've not had that much fun in a long time. That night was incredible. Just being on social media, seeing all the pour me water and seeing all the videos from everywhere. Once Iheanacho scored that penalty, in fact, even before Iheanacho's penalty, from Omeruo's penalty, Murphy's penalty as well, and just seeing the way we took that game and the celebrations afterwards, getting to another AFCON final after more than a decade. It was electric. It's a shame we didn't win it, sadly, but that semi-final was one for the ages. For me, that's the best moment of social media this year.
I mean, seeing Nigeria get to the final was a very good moment. And for me, personally, it was a good moment because I was there, I was in the stadium, and I know how it felt. I felt like, oh, we are there. We're actually at the final. We can actually do it. I know that adrenaline rush I felt when we made it to the final, and that feeling just stopped any other thing I felt this year.
This was saying about the AFCON. For me, as someone that loves football so much, I won't forget. It was the semi-final against Bayern. Ucelo's 2 late goals. I don't know how much I celebrated, but I was so happy that night. I think that was one of the best moments for me. I know I love the AFCON in every way, but I'm saying a lot was just in stake. My friends, I knew the way I was going to be battered around. I knew things were like, imagine how poor we played, and then all of a sudden, we just got to realize that it's in the DNA. Winning that Champions League is in the DNA. Ucelo, hero of our time, is a legend. No matter whatever happens, this a Real Madrid legend. I think that was the most, for me, I really loved that. And for football, I would never forget it the two late goals from Marcelo when we almost thought Madrid will be out of the Champions League and going all the way to win it. It was an outstanding one for me. I can't forget that.
I think that the trends have shown that teams are getting closer and closer in level, which is something that we've needed for a long time, because the Messi and Ronaldo era was just very devastating for football. I didn't like that one team is winning 9 league trophies in a row, one is winning 11 in a row, all of that. Two teams are pummeling everybody else and things like that. But now, more importantly, like Kolade always says, smaller teams are not scared of the big teams anymore. Teams aren't coming to play the bigger teams and just not trying or coming in with a defeatist mindset. I think teams are coming and saying, you know what, we can get a result. That's why we're seeing Leganes go to Barcelona. A Barcelona that were looking scary earlier in the season, going there and getting a win. Las Palmas also. These are two teams that are fighting relegation. We've seen Real Madrid drop points over and over because teams refuse to be beaten. Even in the Premier League, we're seeing Manchester City get slapped by everybody. Arsenal are not, vintage Arsenal, like the Arsenal we saw under Arteta 2 years ago or something. Teams are going at them, all these teams. And I think it's brilliant to see. Also, Leverkusen as well, win the league and everything. So I think next year, one thing I hope for is that Atalanta win Serie A. I'd love to see that. It will also be nice if Frankfurt won Bundesliga, but I don't know how possible that is. Atletico Madrid might win La Liga. They look very good right now. I think it's just good to see all of that happening, right now. I think that's going to... Next year, we're going to see a lot of surprises. We're going to see more underdog stories, more wins for players that we don't even expect. Them showing up and performing and just being standout. And I think more young players also are going to emerge. I think this is going to be the age of young players in coming times. So, yeah.
2025 is going to be a shocker. It's going to be very shocking. If going by indications of what we are seeing now, we're already seeing that 2025, I think the motto for football is no respect for 2025. We're already seeing sides like Nottingham Forest currently, as at the time of recording this video, ahead of Manchester City. Manchester City in the new Champions League format, they are 22nd. Real Madrid, they are probably going to qualify, but it has not been smooth sailing for them. Everything is just showing that football is slowly closing the gap between the so-called big sides and the lesser sides.
In 2025, I would say it's going to be one where the big boys will come back to step up. We've seen a lot of inconsistencies in 2024, where big teams are battered by the smaller teams, in quotes. We've seen Real Madrid perform as poorly as they can ever be in the Champions League. We've seen where Man City is as poor as they can be. But I think in 2025, we might be returning back to the normal. I don't think teams will be as poor as seen. I think other big teams will step up, especially even in any of the competitions that will come up, maybe in rare cases, but most of the big teams will step up. I don't know. And I think the biggest one for me is that I don't see Arsenal winning the title. That's my deduction for 2025. I don't see them winning it. I don't think they will be able to match that force, because you ask yourself in January, I'm not sure they will go for any big striker. And we know a Chelsea side that can score, highest scoring side presently in the league. And I don't see that happening for Arsenal. So I think that's the biggest one. But for the other big teams, they'll step up. I don't think 2025 will be as poor as City is having currently this year. I think City will pick up next year and they will have a better one. Not like they'll win so much, but they won't be a team that you can just stroll and just get all 3 points against them.